Aita, drama, secrets, confessions. Welcome to Tale Trove Reddit.
I saw the bright red sign that plainly read, "Do not enter." But if I had listened to it then, today a police officer would have died horribly. People call me crazy, say I was trying to commit suicide when I walked into that dangerous place. The truth is, I only had a few seconds to choose between walking away or facing something anyone else would run from. And my wrong decision turned everything upside down. Because that very mistake made me the only person who saved someone's life that no one expected. Subscribe to the channel right now so you don't miss the rest of this story. That day, the familiar road suddenly felt strangely unfamiliar. I walked through the old industrial area, a place I had never noticed anything special about in my whole life. But then, right in the middle of the path, a bright red sign appeared before my eyes. It clearly read, "Danger area, do not enter." The letters were so large they seemed to slam into my face, as if someone was deliberately trying to drive away anyone who was curious. The thing is, I never trusted warning signs like that. I've seen hundreds of "do not enter" signs, but they usually end up hiding dirty secrets or just pointless nonsense. But this time was different. The wind blew hard, the air thick as if it smelled of metal and something smoldering. I had the feeling someone was watching me from the shadows. And I swear, this sign felt like a door leading to a world I wasn't allowed to touch. I stood there for a few seconds, the question echoing in my head: if I step through, what waits for me on the other side? Should I believe it's truly dangerous, or is this just a trick to hide something nobody wants me to know? If it were you, would you turn and walk away, or risk everything and keep going? I took a deep breath and stepped past the sign. And the moment my foot touched the ground inside, I knew I had been wrong. The air here was completely different. Heavy, thick, like something invisible was choking my throat. Each step I took echoed like a hammer striking metal. The reverberation stretched on, bouncing back as if 100 other footsteps were following me. But when I turned around, there was no one. The streetlights that should have been steady in this area flickered constantly, some going dark entirely, leaving patches of solid black. Wind howled through the rusted metal frames like the moan of someone begging for help. I shivered, but I kept going. A smell hit my nose, sharp, pungent, enough to make my head spin. It smelled like burning rubber mixed with the scent of old dried blood. And you know what's worst? It felt like I had stepped into a place not meant for humans. I wondered, if I run right now, do I even have a chance to survive? Or is it already too late, because something is watching me from the shadows, just waiting for me to make the smallest mistake? I was about to turn back when suddenly, boom! A deafening noise exploded, reverberating through the empty space. The clash of metal rang sharp and long, like someone was trying to smash something open inside. I froze. My heart pounded so fast I thought it might burst out of my chest. My whole body went cold, but my hands trembled with adrenaline. I knew, in just a few seconds, things would spiral out of control. A faint, wavering moan echoed, sometimes near, sometimes far. Not exactly human, but not entirely soulless either. It felt like someone was trapped, begging, or thrashing to escape an invisible trap. I tried to take a few more steps, but then, crash! A heavy sound rang out right in front of me, followed by a flash of light in the dark. I saw something twitch, and I swear it didn't look like any normal human shape. In that moment I had to choose: keep moving toward the sound, or run away and pretend I never saw anything. If it were you, what would you do? Would you run to save your life, or risk everything to move forward and find the truth? I trembled as I moved closer to that flickering light. Each step grew heavier, as if the ground itself was trying to hold me back, refusing to let me go any further. And then, I saw a sight I'll never forget for the rest of my life. A police car. It had been slammed into an iron fence, the front crushed in, white smoke billowing out as if it could explode at any second. Behind the steering wheel, a man in a blue uniform slumped forward, blood trickling down from his temple. It was a cop, and he was unconscious. I couldn't believe my eyes. Why was a patrol car inside this restricted zone? And more importantly, why was I the only one here to save him? I could hear the hiss of the exhaust, the crack of twisting metal. The whole vehicle shook violently, as if it had only seconds before blowing up. At that moment, one question echoed in my head: if I don't act right now, am I willing to watch a man burn to death right in front of me? I clenched my fists and rushed toward the car in desperation. And that was the moment I realized, sometimes just one decision, made in seconds, can change your entire life. Do you want to know what happened next? Hit subscribe right now, because what comes after is even more shocking. I lunged at the car, the heat blasting my face as if trying to burn my skin. Thick, choking smoke stung my eyes, blurring my vision, but I could still make out the officer's motionless hands. I screamed, pounding on the window. No response. Only the groan of metal cracking with each passing second. I knew I had only two choices: run away to save my own life, or risk everything to pull him out. And in that moment, I didn't understand why my legs refused to turn and run. I grabbed the door handle and yanked hard. It was so hot it burned my skin, but I didn't care. The door was locked tight. I gritted my teeth and drove my elbow into the glass again and again, each blow a white-hot pain, blood beginning to trickle from my hand. Then, crack! A small fracture appeared. I roared, pouring the last of my strength into one final blow. The glass shattered, shards slicing my skin, leaving dozens of cuts. But I didn't care. I shoved my arm inside, grabbed the officer's uniform, and hauled him out. In that moment I asked myself, am I saving a life, or signing my own death warrant? I pulled half of him out of the car when suddenly, boom! A small explosion erupted from the engine bay, flames spitting out like a snake opening its mouth to swallow us. The heat slammed into me, my skin burning, my ears ringing, my head spinning. But I didn't stop. The officer was still unconscious, his body as heavy as a boulder. I had to grit my teeth, bite my lip until it bled to keep pulling him out. Each second felt longer than a lifetime. The real nightmare began when I heard the TSS, fuel leaking and hitting the flame. I knew, if I missed a single beat, the two of us would turn to ash. I screamed, pouring the last of my strength into one final pull. His body slid out of the seat and thudded onto the cold ground. I collapsed beside him, gasping, sweat mixing with the blood on my face. Behind us, the fire flared up, lighting the whole corner like daylight. In that moment I only thought, did I beat time, or just by a few more seconds on a death sentence? Just as I was about to exhale, suddenly, the officer's hand twitched. My heart skipped a beat. Then his eyes snapped open, wide and gleaming in the glow of the raging fire behind us. He wasn't panicked like someone who had just escaped death, he looked straight at me with pure astonishment. Why are you here? His voice hoarse, trembling. I froze. I had risked my life to save him, yet his first reaction wasn't gratitude, it was shock. Shock at my presence. I hesitated, unable to answer, when he forced himself upright, his trembling hand gripping my arm tightly. You shouldn't have come in here, you don't understand what you've just done. Every word he spoke cut through my mind like a blade. The air around us felt suffocating. Behind us, the police car groaned, on the verge of exploding. But what terrified me more than the flames, was his eyes. They looked as if I had accidentally uncovered a horrifying secret I was never meant to know. I stood there, stunned, wondering, why would a cop be afraid after being saved? And what the hell have I just walked into? Before I could fully process his words. Bam! The police car behind us exploded, flames erupting like a fireball devouring the entire area. The blast threw both of us to the cold ground. Shards flew past our heads, embedding into the nearby concrete wall. If I had hesitated even a second, we would have been shredded into pieces. I gasped for breath, my shirt soaked in sweat, while the officer coughed violently, struggling to sit up. In the flickering light of the fire, I clearly saw his face, not gratitude, but fear. A fear greater than death itself. He gripped my hand tightly, whispering, "You shouldn't be here, they won't let this go." I froze. Who are they? And why was a cop trembling like he had just escaped from his own colleagues? One thing I knew for sure, the moment I pulled him out of that car, my life had no way back. I hadn't just saved a life. I had thrown myself into the eye of a deadly secret. Do you want to know what happens next, and who they really are? Hit subscribe right now, because the final part will leave you shaken to your core. I helped the officer out of the rubble, but his legs wobbled so much he nearly collapsed. He looked around, eyes wide with panic, as if any dark corner might hide someone watching. "I owe you my life," he whispered, "but you need to get out of here immediately." If not, neither of us will make it out alive. I was about to ask something when he stopped me, eyes wide and serious enough to send chills down my spine. Don't trust the warning signs, they're not here to protect you. They're here to keep others inside. My whole body froze. His words hit me like a thunderclap. I glanced back at the raging fire, wondering, if the real danger isn't out there, but right inside this place, what have I just freed? The officer squeezed my hand one last time, speaking softly, "Tonight, you've seen nothing yet. If you go back, may God have mercy on you." Then he stumbled away, disappearing into the thick darkness. I stood there, heart racing, mind spinning with 1,000 unanswered questions. And I knew, this wasn't the end. It was only the beginning of a nightmare far worse than I could imagine.